Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up, because today's story is so hot it might just melt your screen. It's November 16th, 2025. Times exclusive just dropped a bombshell, and Malawi is buzzing harder than a beehive hit with a baseball bat. The name at the center of this political earthquake? Lero Ang'alula Sizinaoneke, a top government official whose polished speeches and starched suits might not be enough to hide what's brewing behind the curtain. If you thought you'd seen scandals before, trust me, you haven't seen this one. Today, we're breaking down the top 10 explosive facts behind this developing corruption saga, each one more shocking, more unpredictable, and more, well, straight up wild than the last. Let's jump in. Fact number 1 kicks off with the moment everything cracked open. According to insider whispers and the Times deep dive, this whole saga began when a routine audit flagged unusual discrepancies in one of the national development accounts managed under Lero Ang'alula Sizinaoneke's office. And when auditors say unusual, they don't mean a missing receipt or a mistyped invoice. Nah, they're talking millions unaccounted for, money diverted in ways that look more like the plot of a crime drama than the operations of a government ministry. The audit triggered red flags left, right, and center. Procurement logs didn't align with financial reports. Contractors listed on projects claimed they'd never received the funds listed under their names. And when Times Television started asking questions, the department went suspiciously silent. Like, pretend they're not knocking silent. This is the spark, the moment the match hit the gasoline. A single discrepancy turned into a pattern, and a pattern turned into suspicion. And if you've been around the block, you know one thing. Suspicion in politics is never lonely. It always brings friends. And speaking of friends, wait till you hear how deep those connections run. Fact 2 exposes a network so tangled you'd swear you're watching a season finale of a political thriller. Fact 2 peels back the curtain on the kind of inner circle that politicians pretend doesn't exist. The kind that meets behind closed doors, speaks in vague phrases, and signs deals with handshakes instead of signatures. It turns out Sizinaoneke's world wasn't just about public service and national duty. According to leaked internal memos obtained by Times reporters, he was surrounded by a select group of business owners, foreign investors, and political allies who seemed to keep cropping up in every major contract, every big decision, and every lucrative approval. Coincidence? Yeah, right, and I'm the King of England. The same names appeared again and again in project allocations. Some of them had no history in construction, yet somehow snagged massive road development bids. Others were listed as consultants, but had no staff, no offices, no public business presence, basically ghosts with bank accounts. Times investigators traced at least 9 major projects back to the circle, and every one of those projects had missing funds, inflated budgets, or unexpected cost escalations. This wasn't just a network. It was a carefully maintained ecosystem designed to keep power circulating among a few loyal. But here's where it gets juicy, because knowing who is involved is one thing, but discovering what they were all doing together? Oh, that's fact number 3. Get ready. Fact 3 dives straight into the money, because let's be honest, in politics, following the cash is like following breadcrumbs straight to the truth. And in this case, the truth was trying really, really hard to stay hidden. Investigators discovered a pattern of payments routed through third-party subcontractors, companies that, on paper, handled everything, from supply deliveries to feasibility studies. Except, plot twist, many of these subcontractors didn't actually do anything. No deliveries, no field visits, no reports. What they did do, however, was act as financial laundromats. Funds disappeared through them and reappeared in offshore accounts, private properties, and, get this, in a luxury car import business that mysteriously flourished right after several questionable withdrawals. The money flowed in a loop so sophisticated, it made Times analysts step back and say, dang, this wasn't amateur hour. The financial architecture was intentional, strategic, and designed to muddy the waters just enough to confuse any casual observer. But Times doesn't do casual observer. They dug deeper, and what they found next is what officially turned this into a national headline. Because money trails are incriminating, but wait until you hear the moment that connected the dots with a thunderclap. Fact 4 is the beginning of the storm. Fact 4 introduces the unexpected hero of this saga, a whistleblower who decided they had seen enough. And when I say whistleblower, I don't mean someone who casually leaks gossip in a WhatsApp group. This person walked straight into investigative journalism territory with receipts, documents, screenshots, and audio clips. This anonymous insider had been part of the procurement chain, someone who witnessed the irregular approvals happening right under Sizinaoneke's office. They had seen contracts awarded to unqualified companies, watched project budgets balloon out of nowhere, and received direct instructions to expedite payments to vendors that weren't even on the official supplier list. When the whistleblower contacted Times Television, they didn't come empty-handed. They came with a digital folder so damning it could sink a ship. And the chain reaction was immediate. Times cross-checked everything, verified details with external sources, and confirmed the authenticity of every document shared. This wasn't rumor. This wasn't speculation. This was hard evidence. And when evidence enters the chat, consequences follow. Fast. That brings us to Fact 5, where fallout hits the hallways of power like a freight train. Fact 5 captures the moment panic swept through the corridors of government like a sudden power outage. As soon as the whistleblower leak went public, phones began buzzing, emergency meetings were called, and senior officials started scrambling to clarify statements that hadn't even been requested yet. Multiple sources reported that Sizinaoneke's office held a closed-door meeting within hours of the Times segment airing. And what was discussed? Damage control. The kind that starts with denial, escalates to justification, and ends with, "We'll release a statement next week." Other ministries started distancing themselves faster than a cat from a bathtub. Suddenly, everyone was saying, "We had no idea, we were never involved, and our department operates independently." But here's the kicker. Internal messages leaked from within the ministry show there were attempts to clean digital files, rename folders, and adjust dates and procurement logs. They were trying to cover tracks in real time, forgetting one thing: the internet never forgets. But the public had thoughts. Loud, heated, unfiltered thoughts. Fact 6 breaks down how the nation responded.
Fact 6 is all about the public reaction. And let me tell you, it was explosive. Social media erupted like a volcano with hashtags, memes, voice notes, and commentary flying in every direction. People were outraged, confused, disappointed, and honestly, tired. Tired of the same cycle: scandal, denial, ongoing investigation, repeat. Citizens demanded answers. Activists organized protests. Radio shows turned into heated debates, and everyday Malawians voiced one collective message: we want accountability. What made the backlash even fiercer was the Times exclusive broadcast. Hearing journalists lay out evidence fact by fact, hearing the audio clips, seeing the documents, it felt like the nation had been handed a front row seat to corruption. No filters, no excuses. Even supporters of Sizinaoneke were split. Some defended him, insisting he was being targeted politically. Others backed away, shifting from "he's our guy" to "let's wait and see." But while the streets were loud, the legal system was gearing up for something even louder. Fact 7 takes you into the judicial arena. Fact 7 reveals the moment the justice system stepped onto the stage. The Anti-Corruption Bureau opened an official investigation within 48 hours of the Times report, a move so swift it caught even seasoned analysts off guard. Subpoenas were issued, bank records were requested, procurement officers were called in for questioning, and multiple staff members within Sizinaoneke's ministry were quietly suspended pending investigation. Legal analysts warned that the evidence presented so far was strong enough to warrant full criminal proceedings. We're talking potential charges ranging from abuse of office to financial misconduct to conspiracy. Heavy stuff, the kind that doesn't end with a simple press release. One insider even claimed the Bureau was considering freezing certain accounts linked to the alleged money trail. Translation: the system wasn't playing games anymore. And if the legal hammer was heavy, the political fallout, oh, that's a whole other earthquake. Fact 8 shakes up the power structure. Fact 8 details how this scandal didn't just hit one office. It sent shockwaves across the entire political landscape. Allies suddenly turned neutral. Opponents smelled blood in the water. Party leaders held emergency strategy sessions. Parliamentary committees demanded briefings. The scandal became a political litmus test. How leaders responded revealed who wanted accountability and who wanted to protect the power pyramid. Some insiders even hinted that certain party factions were considering distancing themselves entirely from Sizinaoneke, quietly preparing for the possibility that he may become a liability rather than an asset. And here's the political oh snap moment. Leaked audio suggested internal rivalries were already forming around who might replace him if things escalated. But before the political dust settles, we've got to talk about something even bigger: the impact on future governance. Fact 9 dives deep into that. Fact 9 zooms out to the national level. This scandal raised a fundamental question. If a top official can manipulate systems this easily, how many cracks exist in government oversight? Experts argued the scandal exposed deep flaws in procurement processes, auditing structures, and internal accountability. Transparency advocates called for full reform, demanding digital tracking systems, independent verification layers, and whistleblower protections. Simply put, this wasn't just a corruption story. It was a mirror held up to the system itself, and the reflection wasn't pretty. Malawi or any nation can't build a strong future with weak integrity. This case may become a historical pivot point, pushing leaders to tighten laws, improve checks, and reinforce consequences. But with every scandal comes the million-dollar question: what happens next? That's fact 10. The final fact tackles the future, and spoiler alert, it's messy. Sizinaoneke could face suspension, resignation, legal indictment, or political exile. Or, depending on how the investigation unfolds, he may attempt to fight back, defend himself, or claim political sabotage. Public pressure will play a massive role. So will internal politics. So will the legal findings. This saga is far from over. It's the kind of story that evolves by the day, and every new detail carries enough weight to shake the national conversation. But one thing is clear: the nation demands truth. Times Exclusive lit the fire. The people are stoking it, and the government must now decide whether to extinguish the flames or let the whole structure burn. If you've been glued to this breakdown, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and ring the bell so you never miss a story that shakes the ground beneath the headlines. Drop your thoughts below. Should Sizinaoneke step aside? Should the system reform? Should accountability finally mean something? Your voice matters. And hey, support our family channels too. Check out Sparkling Kids and Rayma Fatima for fun, learning, and bright content for the little ones. Like, comment, and subscribe there too. Let's grow together as one Global Pulse family.